So good afternoon. So my name is Josh Wiggins. I work for GrayMeta. We're a partner of Cloudian. Today I'm going to take you through a little bit of a story about machine learning and metadata and ways that companies can monetize it for their library. So with AI and machine learning, there's a lot of stats out there. Basically, people are going to be saving time, people are going to be making money, it's going to replace jobs, it's going to make people's lives better. There's a lot of stats out there about people saving time, but very often it comes down to being able to find things. So many of our customers are just looking to find it, right? We all have this at home when we're looking for a file or a folder. So what we're really doing is trying to drive value for customers to allow them to find their assets easier. Apparently, this is what AI looks like. So if you Google AI and look at images, this is AI. So the trouble with this is there's a lot of noise out there. How do people easily understand what AI is, how it can help in the business, or how it can help at home or in regular everyday life? So what we've done is try to focus on the reasons why people are looking at AI or machine learning or creating metadata. So we really try with customers to understand, can we increase productivity in the work that they're doing every day? Can we help them reduce costs in their operations? And then in the case I'm going to talk to today, it's more about generating revenue from those libraries. So I'm going to focus on more of a revenue use case today. It really comes down to metadata. I've been in this business enough times with metadata, and it's not necessarily about AI and machine learning. We need to have information about our assets, and we're looking for a way to create it without putting loads of humans in front of machines to actually log it. So there is the evolution of allowing the machine to generate the metadata for us. We have to put the metadata into a workflow. Our problem is we have workflows today, but we're taking too much time to get the job done because we may not know what we're looking for. Or it could be mislabeled, which means that we're working on a file that's the wrong file, and we've put it into the supply chain. So what we're really focused on is using machine learning to have metadata-driven workflows. You can inject the metadata into the workflow, you can integrate it into other applications. So really boiling it down, right? A lot of people will say machine learning, AI, data, metadata. What we're really trying to do is get inside the assets to understand what we have. All of us on our phones take a photo like the photo that he just took. He just created probably about 48 fields of metadata that were in there, but he can't see it because the application isn't allowing him. He just knows where it was because it brought the geotag up. So what we're really trying to do is get to what matters. So go into the pantry, right? I recently redid my house, and this is one of the biggest projects when we built our house. It comes down to, do I have enough space for everything? Can I get all of the items in that place where I'm looking to store it? Where are the labels? If I don't have the labels in the right place, or my kid or my wife can't find it, I'm going to waste time and money doing that. So you want to be able to find everything when you need it and not waste time or money by having something hidden behind something else. So you go to the store to buy it, then you realize that it was already there and it's out of date and it's wasted. So what we're really focused on is the storage with Cloudian. So we have a number of customers where our solution connects to Cloudian storage. That's where the data goes. These are all your files and your objects and your assets. You need to have metadata about it. Then you need to be able to access it and drive value by saving time, money, or generating money. Here's a little, if this works on the video. So what we do, and I'm going to get to the fun videos after this, so we connect to the storage. A lot of systems out there want you to move your data. So what we do is we actually connect to the Cloudian storage. We don't need to move that data and copy it elsewhere. We can work with any file type, because it's not just about videos. We can work with contracts, Word documents. If you're in the IT part of the business, we can connect to email archives, open up files, look at a photo that was in a Word document in an email archive, and understand what you may have. We're extracting information out of those files. Very often, the metadata is already there. When that guy took the photo, he created all that technical metadata. We knew where he was, the brightness, how light the photo was, the colors in there. So we're bringing all this information out of the assets that are stuck on the Cloudian storage. We look at the loudness, the channels, all that information. Then this is where the automated machine learning comes in. All of these things, you hear lots about it at the show, with faces, places, emotion, speech to text. What we're able to do is generate now this important metadata layer that is connected to the Cloudian storage, so you can get all of this metadata. Now the trouble is, if you create this metadata and you've got 3 or 4 different divisions within a company, you may find that you're all creating the same metadata. So what we've tried to do is create a way where we can create an easy interface for customers and users to come and access that metadata, but more importantly, customers can integrate all this metadata directly back into existing applications, whether they're new ones, old ones, or with partners. So all of this data will go up into Adobe Creative Cloud, Avid, asset management systems. It can be all surfaced into those systems so that whether you're in production, coming right off of the camera, and you've got dailies and you want to log that, or aerial footage from drones or whatever it may be, or you may be on the other side of the equation, you could be in marketing and promotion. And you have a bit of content that's trending and you want to quickly find other content like it, now you can search within Adobe, find that person, what they're saying, and quickly get to it to create a new bit of content. So now I'm going to dig a bit deeper into the monetization use case. So the key here is setting yourself up for success. So we did a project with the Royal Wedding with Sky. Some of you may have heard about it. It was live facial recognition. But what we did is we realized the human had to be in the loop. So we were finding all the faces. This is an example without a machine learning model. Prince Harry looks like Elton John. So we needed to have a human in the loop to validate. But all we did is we added 60 seconds of delay from the live wedding to allow us to push out 100% accurate metadata about who was at the wedding. But the key here is you don't have to think that AI machine learning doesn't need a human. We've seen a lot of value by actually having the human in the loop and either helping train the models or actually helping make sure that something that's not accurate doesn't get pushed into the supply chain. So it's important that you keep the human in the loop both when you're doing the task. But if any of you are trying to figure out how to bring machine learning into your company, one of the best bit of advice I'd give, and our customers say, is you've got to start training your people. Bring those people in that are probably going to get impacted and bring them into the team to do it. Don't leave them out on the edge. Video Fashion is a customer of us. They're the world's largest video archive for video fashion. They have about 18,000 hours. I'm going to show you a short video here about how they've applied our platform and the basics that I've talked through to monetize their library. You may not be able to hear the audio very well, so I may talk over it.
The video fashion library is the world's largest archive of fashion, beauty, and lifestyle video with over 18,000 hours of footage spanning 5 decades. We've shot around the world and in all of the major fashion categories, from runways to the streets, in museums and on the record, from the front row to backstage and behind the scenes. Video fashion news organizations, producers, marketers, and content creators of all sorts and sizes.
They never had any metadata for this. The metadata was on the tape.
That's where the partnership with GrayMeta comes in. GrayMeta's artificial intelligence technology automatically analyzes our content and creates in-depth metadata which makes our videos searchable on an online platform.
They worked with CNN to produce footage that they had to get very quickly to allow CNN to be able to create the documentaries that they were doing. So they were able to easily search for people, places, brands that were happening, so they could get the footage to CNN a lot easier than they would have done without having any of the metadata, which meant they were able to save time, make money, by being able to deliver that to CNN. Because now they knew who was in the video, where they were, what they were saying, and we were able to surface all of that up. So that Anne, she's the boss lady there, was able to work directly when people would call her to find the footage. So now a library that was sitting there not necessarily generating revenue, they're now generating over $100 per second in selling that footage because they have metadata that's sitting on those assets. And notice the quality here. It's not all going to be 4K footage. You can have very low resolution. You can still find the people and you can still find those moments. So the key here is they had a big library on tape. It wasn't all in the cloud. It wasn't sitting on premise on nice storage like Cloudian, so they were using different types of storage. They didn't have a lot of budget to be able to do this, but they wanted to generate revenue. They had a limited time and resource to be able to do this, but they knew they needed to be able to find things quickly. So this is a real-world example of not a huge organization is able to generate revenue by applying metadata to video assets that were sitting in storage. In its simplest form, that's what they did. In order to do this, we kept it really simple. You're going to hear a lot of words about a lot of AI, a lot of engines. In a way, I think there's a new term probably called enginitis. Everyone's going to have all these AI engines, and you don't need hundreds of thousands of engines. So we really broke it down into the very simple things that they needed to find and search for. We didn't overcomplicate it, and we made all of this available within the user interface for them. And Here's an example. So we've created something called Overview, and it allowed them, when the phone rang and they needed to find some footage, straight away we can tell them how long someone was in the video, what graphics and brands were in there, was there certain tags. This insights is what we use for compliance. It can find if there's certain swear words or brands that they're not allowed to find, and even locations. It'll tell them where that was shot. Was it in Paris? And then technical metadata. So we really focused on making the data accessible to a regular user sitting there at a desktop computer without machine learning and AI expertise. To take this a step further, we also realized that people need to be able to create models themselves of people and logos and brands, and they didn't want to have a lot of technical resource to do this. So we created AI Studio that allows customers and users, without any help from us, to drag and drop, create models of people. As they go through the archive, they can add younger versions of someone into the archive and train it, replace it. You can also do this with logos and brands, but it's about bringing machine learning and metadata creation directly to the desktop and the everyday user. An example of where this worked for them, they have a project with someone called Pat McGrath. This is a large brand. They needed to find all the footage for Pat McGrath to allow them to do a deal to license the footage. Well, when you'll see in a minute where this stuff was stored. So she wanted to be able to get footage about her, and it was all stored with video fashion. But where was she? Where did people speak about her? They would have had to spend hours and hours looking for every bit of footage with her, but instead they built a model of Pat McGrath with AI Studio, so straight away they could find every moment, but most importantly, find the tape that had the most footage of her in. Because you'd be surprised where it actually was. It's on tape. It's in boxes. So they're busy digitizing it. All they have is the label on the side of the tape and some memory from the past. So we're able to go through this and find every single frame where that person existed, what they were saying, where were they, what year it was in. So this is an example. It's about putting metadata on your assets, on that storage, making it accessible and valuable to the business. And the key takeaway here is there isn't a big team working on this. There's about 6 or 7 people in the office, and they all have day jobs. I'll cut that there, thanks. So the point here is simple metadata, connect to your storage, create a layer of metadata that gives you insights, and understand in your business, are you trying to save time, make money, or save money? Okay, thank you.